It's damn good to be back, Sam. What do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah? Hell yeah.
Hell
In fact, we didn't go anywhere. The show took a break, but not us. We're powering through. We're
powering through.
I have trouble with my R's. We're forcing our way through, damn it. All right, so today we are talking about Season 2, Episode 10, the 23rd Psalm. Mr. Echo enlists the aid of Charlie to help him find the rest of the Virgin Mary statues. Meanwhile, Locke teaches Michael how to shoot. Well, first off, let me just say, what an opening.
Wait, how does that?
It's been a long day. They take little Locke. I'm sorry, not little Locke.
Oh, that's right. They take.
It's been a long day. They take little Echo.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. That was a crazy opening.
It's really interesting how they did it. All of Echo's flashbacks in this episode took place in Nigeria, which was just like in yellowish orange tinted Hawaii.
Mm-hmm. I hate it when Hollywood does that. I really do.
I hate it, but like the problem is it works. So like I think you have to do it. You have to limit the amount of time you do it. You know, something like this, I guess you could get away with it because it's just this one episode. Most of the scenes are short. It gives the rugged, dirty, dusty vibe they're going for, you know, because it's anything like else. You still have to do the set dressing, and that also includes. I do feel that the camera plays a part in that. So I don't know. I mean, it's part of the movie magic that you just got to find the balance. But then if you look like at a movie like Extraction, right? That's what it's called with Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah.
Where like the whole damn movie has a filter on it, and it's just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a bit much. It was a pretty badass movie though. So
I'll take your word for it.
You gotta give it a shot, dude. It's awesome. Especially as far as like action movies go. Yeah, it's pretty next level. I think Sam Hargreaves is the director, former stuntman. Yeah, he's going places. Give that man a Marvel movie. There wasn't any hand-to-hand combat in this episode, unfortunately. But I don't think there's much of that in Lost anyway.
No, I mean, we've got like a little bit of it like spread out, but
yeah, a couple fist fights here and there.
Yeah.
So this one, like that first scene, man, it hit hard. I was like, oh man, that's pretty rough. You know, they're trying to get Locke's little brother to kill this old guy.
Echo.
Echo. Why do I keep saying Locke?
Why do you keep saying Locke?
Because they're both really cool names.
I guess. I mean, you're right.
It's
yes,
the K's.
cool
That's
names.
what it is. It's the K and the E's.
What?
One is K-E and the other is E-K. Oh, and they have O in it as well. I don't know. I don't know why I'm tired. You're the one who just got out of work.
I know. I just got you had the whole day off.
Jeez. Okay. They tried to force Mr. Echo. I'm going to have to be forced to call him Mr. Echo. Otherwise, I'm going to say something else. They try and get Mr. Echo's little brother to murder this guy in cold blood. But Mr. Echo just does it for him to protect his little brother. And that's what starts him off on this life of, I don't know what you want to call it, guerrilla warfare and crime. Yeah. Oh, man, instantly. As soon as this episode started, I was like, yes, I'm transported. I love this, just like I love the Sun and Jin episodes, because they're always in Korea and you can feel it, you know? There's enough in the details that you don't really think like, oh yeah, I'm looking at Hawaii. It's like, no, it's all in the details. It's there. It fits. I feel like I'm in Korea. I think I've never been there before. A guy who hasn't been there, I feel like I was there. Same thing with Nigeria. I've never been to Nigeria, but watching this show that's 16 years old, I felt like I was there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I guess I should make an addendum. Is that the word?
Depends on what you're doing.
And errata? Is that what it's called?
What?
I'm gonna fix a mistake I have been saying. I've been saying that it's been season 2 was 2006. Mm-hmm. It's 2006 now. Because I'm always thrown off because especially on television, their shows usually run from the fall through the spring. Mm-hmm. So season 2 has been 05, 06. So now we are officially in 2006 with this show.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I think the last episode or two I mentioned like this was the end of 2006. It's like, no, this is the beginning. So, for all those historical context people who are looking for hints and clues and pop culture references. Mm-hmm. George Bush, Iraq. What else was popular in 2006?
Green Day.
Green Day?
Mm-hmm. Smallville.
Oh, yeah.
Friday Night Lights?
No.
Was that a show yet?
No. I mean, the movie came out first. Maybe the movie.
Yeah, but wasn't the show around that time as well?
No. Let me see. The show was. Oh God, you're right. 2006. Then when was the movie? Oh, the movie was 04, so there's only like a 2-year difference.
Oh wow.
Wow, that's crazy.
Huh, that is crazy. Wild. Stuff's wild.
06 to 2011. Man, mm-hmm. Friday Night Lights has already been off the air for 10 years.
Wow.
It doesn't seem like that long ago. 2006. We're going to find out what the popular song was for 06. Year-end charts. Hot 100 songs, Sam. Let's see. Bad Day from Daniel Powter. What's that?
Oh, that's the Cause You Had a Bad Day.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I can sing. I was having a good day until I thought of that song, and it's going to be in my head now.
That's all we can sing for legal copyright reasons. Mm-hmm.
Unless we parodied it.
Cause you got lost one day. Something.
Sure.
Yeah. There you go. I did it. I tied it in to the show, and the whole reason why we do the podcast. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Mm-hmm. So what do we want to talk about first? You want to talk about his flashbacks? Because this was very tied in, kind of like last episode. The flashbacks were really connected to the main storyline, which is nice. It's a nice change.
Yeah. We can talk flashbacks because those are probably some of the, which I mean, it's crazy. It's like those are like some probably the best parts of the episode. I don't know. In an episode that just kind of is one of the best episodes of the season.
It's the story of two brothers who their lives go different directions. Mr. Echo becomes this bad drug runner type guy, and the little brother becomes a priest. Mm-hmm. And there's still love there, But Mr. Echo, he like, what's the thing? Like, he's trying to get the church, the Catholic Church, to like run drugs through their plane, right? It seems like it's just this one time, because he even says we're trying to get these drugs out of Nigeria.
Yeah, because it doesn't. Yeah, it sounds like he tells his brother that that's not something that he does, and he is just trying to get the drugs out of their country. And the only planes that are being allowed to fly in and out of the country are UN relief planes or Catholic missionary planes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the brother doesn't want to do it. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting because we were just talking the last episode about like Mr. Echo. What are his beliefs? What is, his morals and all this stuff? We've definitely got this maybe a spiritual type side to him because he was the one who found the Bible. He took the Bible. and then he told Locke the story about the Book of Law. And so it's interesting how he's trying to become a fake priest so he can fly these drugs out. And like this whole time, this episode, like Charlie's kind of wondering like if he's a priest because they, everything they find. So yeah, but I mean, just because it's lost, everything goes ass up. What's the word? Everything goes ass up, Sam.
I don't think that's. I don't know what phrase you're trying to replicate, but sure.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just making one up.
That could be one. Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's a bad thing or a good thing. It depends. I'm not going to get into the semantics of it. Things go ass up, Sam. We're going to leave it at that.
Wow.
But yeah, man, the little brother, he tries saving Echo at the last minute, and he calls the military. They start shooting him up, and he gets shot. He gets killed and thrown onto the plane. Now, okay, the guy who kicks out Mr. Echo, like, why? They never really go into it.
No, they never did.
Was he trying to save him, or was it just like, I'm going to get all the money for this? You brought your brother in, so there's all this trouble, so he kicks him out.
It could have been like I think it's the last two more than anything, like it's like you, like bullets are flying because of you and your brother. And I'm also just going to keep all the money, maybe all the drugs for myself, like I'm fully leaving the country. I have the means to leave the country. So, yeah, screw you.
So sometime between then in 2004, that plane crash lands on the island. Logistically, that's insane because they're coming from Africa. There's like a whole South America between them.
I mean, it depends which way, you're flying.
If he goes east, Sam, he's going to have to go across the whole world, go through Indonesia. If he goes west, he's going to have to go over South America.
Well, where are they going? Did they say where they were going?
I feel like they did.
See, I feel like they did. Well, maybe.
So Nigeria is kind of it's not in the center of Africa, but if you're looking like latitude and longitude, it would be
somewhere closer.
It's in the middle, but it's like off to the side.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, if he goes east, he literally has to fly across all of Africa. Plus the Indian Ocean, plus Indonesia, just to get to the Pacific. If he goes west, he has to go through the Atlantic, and then probably cross through like Venezuela, I can't say that, Colombia, stuff like that, Panama, to get to the Pacific. So there's some funky shenanigans going on with this island, Sam.
Interesting. Very interesting. Okay.
Unless he went south to Antarctica and then swung around. I mean, because let's not forget, there's polar bears on this island. Maybe the island is just Antarctica.
Oh my goodness.
It just moved.
I mean, yeah. Or it just got smaller because of global warming.
It got smaller and moved. I'm sure that's it. I'm sure we solved it.
Yeah, we solved it. Hey, Damon Lindelof, we figured it out.
So now we can reboot it.
Yeah, we figured it out. So now we're going to reboot it and do it better.
So, yeah, that's essentially the story for the flashbacks. On the island, Mr. Echo has a nice little chat with Claire. about baby Aaron, and how Aaron was the brother of Moses. Again, there's the brother story, and she kind of, he says that's the brother Moses, and she refers to like, oh, it must be hard being the brother of Moses. But he talks about Aaron. He talks about how Aaron was a good man, and Moses had trouble speaking with people, so he would speak through his brother. So there's a lot of like brotherly themes going on in this episode. And then, Claire kind of just like drops the little bit of info like, oh, Charlie's religious too. He has this Virgin Mary statue. What? And that kicks off the whole episode.
Yeah.
So essentially the whole episode is Echo grabs Charlie and they're trekking through the jungle trying to find the rest of these statues. And Charlie, for some reason, keeps lying.
Yep. Like, I don't understand what. Okay. I think Charlie has just made excuse after excuse his entire life. The blame is always on somebody else. He fully blames his brother for getting him addicted to heroin. Like, yeah. And so it's like, okay, everything is somebody else's fault. He's passing the blame off anybody else. And it's like, one, he's still newly kicked off of heroin, So, he's still in recovery. He's maybe, I don't know, 3 weeks, 4 weeks now ish, roughly out of recovery or in recovery. And it's kind of like, once you start living that lifestyle and once you start, needing to lie, needing to cover your tracks because, you're trying to get your next fix. There's only certain ways to do that, all of that. It's like, okay. So I can see that, Charlie is also being confronted with this, and this is something he doesn't want to do. He doesn't understand why he's doing it, and he doesn't want to be accused of it. So I understand it, I guess, from that perspective. Just from an audience perspective, I fully don't know what Charlie thinks he's going to gain by just lying. And say, I didn't know what was in it, or just any of the other, BS that he tells Echo.
Yeah. And I think it could have been done. I'm not going to say it wasn't done properly, but I guess it could have been done better because, like he is a recently sober junkie. So I could understand why this is an issue, for him, like why he's doing this stuff. Like, okay, all right. But they haven't really brought it up in the episodes, in the storytelling. So that's why it's kind of jarring for us. Like, man, why is he doing this? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think maybe, and like a lot of people on this island, like we said so far this season, they've had very little to do this season, and Charlie's one of them. So I think if they would have peppered in a little more of him kind of struggling with being sober, that would have helped. Or maybe even like instead of struggling, you could do it in ways that just aren't like outright like obvious. Like, oh, he's still struggling with this. It could have been like he's struggling with his decision making or something.
Yeah.
They kind of alluded to it earlier when Claire's talking about how she feels like Charlie's like taking over her parenting, of Aaron.
Yeah.
Things like that. So they could have dropped in a little more seeds to hint like something's not right with Charlie. Something's going on.
See, this is fascinating to me because once again, we come to this point where it's like, at the time, Charlie was one of the fan favorites of the show.
Oh yeah, I was just thinking that. Yeah.
And for me, I'm watching this now, I don't know how many years after, but I'm just having a really hard time like finding anything, I don't know, redeeming about Charlie, you know, or anything that I can find that are just like, you know what, I'm gonna root for him to do this, or that, you know, I'm gonna root for, because even at the end of the episode, he gets another Virgin Mary statue because Mr. Echo broke his. He gets another one, and we see Charlie sneak off into the jungle at night, and he's got a whole stash of them somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And we haven't seen him use, so far as we know, but I don't understand what it is. Is it a Fault in Our Stars thing where it's like you put the thing that could kill you in your hand, but you don't use it? And that's, I forgot what he says. That's something Hazel Grace. All right, whatever. Can't believe I just related heroin addiction to something from Fault in Our Stars.
I got no idea what you're talking about. Like, yeah.
Only a certain demographic of people of a certain age who read certain things and watched certain movies will understand what I'm talking about. And everybody else is just like, what's somebody in England will be like, right, what's all this then? I don't apologize.
Don't.
Yeah, so I guess I want to talk about I mean, because it's pretty impactful when Echo finds the bodies. You know, one, because he finds the body of the pilot who used to be his friend, and he tells Charlie that this man saved my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like he means that in more ways than one, because we just initially see him kick Echo off the plane, and the plane takes off.
Mm-hmm.
And so we can presume like, oh, okay, like the plane obviously never made it to its destination. So, you know, yeah, Echo got to live.
Yeah.
But a thing that we didn't talk about in Mr. Echo's flashback was how it ends. Because earlier, because earlier he goes to his brother's church with documents asking him to sign these, to sign the documents so that he can make him and his crew priests, so that they can have permission to travel. And then of course his brother says like, I'll sign these documents, but that doesn't make you a priest, you know, all that stuff. Like, God will forgive me for what I do. And that's the biggest difference between us. And Echo doesn't even look at him. Like, he hears that and then just like fully takes off. So when we see Mr. Echo and his gang, him and one of them are dressed as priests.
Right. Yeah. That's how they're escaping. They're pretending to be a priest. They're
fully dressed as priests. He even loses like his I don't know if they're, I don't want to mess it up. He changes his hairstyle so that he looks more like a priest, and less like a gangster, guerrilla fighter. So, so yeah, once his brother comes and gets shot, and then they put him on the plane and he gets kicked off, the plane takes off and the soldiers run up to Mr. Echo, and one of them looks down and asks him, "Are you okay, Father? Father, are you okay?" And Echo just like kind of looks, and there's a look of like confusion and then instant realization that they think he's a priest. They think he's trying to stop this. And now he can fully take this place. Basically, he was given an out and he didn't even realize it. So the man that kicked him off the plane not only saved his life in a very literal sense, but he saved his life also in like a spiritual sense, because at least from what we know from that moment until we see him on the island, this is a man of faith. You know, for all intents and purposes, this is a good man. You know, and like that is crazy to me. And then we get to the end where, you know, he finds his brother's body in the plane. He cries. He pulls the fuel line and sets it all on fire. And yeah, like, one, this is just a great performance, you know, from Adewale. And yeah, it's fantastic. And it's really cool because him and Charlie get to respond on that spiritual level, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Charlie uses the, you know, I was a choir boy, you know, to sort of like say like, hey, I'm godly too. Like you don't have anything over me. And then by the end of the episode, they're both on this, they're both on an equal footing, at least in this moment where, you know, they sort of realize their mortality.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, great. Hella great moment. I was about to say, like, I'm proud. Like, I'm proud of Lost for like doing this or making me feel this way. I don't know. That's a weird thing to say, but yeah,
well,
like this.
I know what you mean though. Like, I think it was very ballsy. I think right off the bat, just doing the whole, you know, child soldier thing in the very first scene of the episode was pretty gutsy move.
Mm-hmm.
But I was watching it and it's really interesting because you have at the end, like, it's not the end of the episode really, but when they're burning the bodies in the plane,
Mm-hmm.
and Echo and Charlie are praying, and I was just watching it, I was like, damn, this is really good. I think unfortunately religion has become too political, especially like on TV.
Mm-hmm.
So it's rare to see that, you know, these religious characters. Because look, I mean, let's be honest. If you want to watch something that's about religion or some kind of faith, or who have characters who are unapologetic about their beliefs, you got to go to something sappy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you got to turn to some kind of cheesy religious network, and
Or you just got to find some poorly funded Kevin Sorbo movie.
Oh God, yeah, but and even that, like, a lot of those have like their own agendas for whatever reason. You know, it's never just about like the story they want to tell. It's about the lesson they want you to learn. You know, it's very like abrasive in that way.
Yeah.
And so it's really cool to see this on this primetime television show, these two guys. And on top of that, Lost has really gone out of its way to show that, hey, these are people.
Mm-hmm.
Neither of them are who you would think of when you would think of someone who's religious.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're both I don't want to say broken, but they both have their life experiences. They've both been through the meat grinder, and they're not perfect. They're flawed characters. And again, you wouldn't really see that in one of those, some kind of other religious movie, unless they're the one who is changed at the end. You know, like, oh, this whatever, this miracle saved me, or I learned my lesson and I'm not that person anymore, which is nice theoretically, but it's not very realistic.
Yeah.
You know, and I think Lost kind of portrays that more. It's like, hey, we're still the same people. You know, we just get to share this moment in our lives and this one scene in particular on this show. So I thought that was very cool watching that. And also Dominic Monaghan is I guess agnostic, or I don't know. He's gone on record saying like the hardest part about playing Charlie was the religion, because he's like anti-religion. Just due to like his upbringing and stuff. So I think that his first flashback episode, he's in confession last season.
Oh yeah.
And he goes to the holy water, does the sign of the cross and all that stuff. He had a lot of trouble doing that. I just, as a person, you know, he's like, okay, as an actor, I have to get into this mindset of playing this individual. So I think that's very interesting. And that's an interesting side of Charlie. I kind of wish we got more into that, because we've only really seen him kind of on the downward spiral.
Mm-hmm.
At least through his flashbacks, you know. So
I think, well, I think the problem is that, well, maybe not the problem. It's just like the issue is that, first flashback we see, like we see Charlie's like full journey from, being like that good altar boy to full blown heroin addict, full blown jerk, scum kind of guy. And yeah, and then as through through the course of the season we see like, oh yeah, he kicks it and it's fine, and then yeah, and now we're here. So that it feels kind of weird, because now it's like, what sort of story do you tell, like that decision alone limits the stories that you can tell with Charlie, because any other story that you are going to tell with him is either going to have to be before he becomes an addict or while he's in his addiction, and
we already know the trouble with that, because they've already done like 2 episodes in there and we still don't feel like we know anything new about that character.
Exactly. So it's like that, like it's very limiting of what we can see, Charlie go through. So it feels like anything else, like it would have to be like an episode or an issue where it's like, okay, Charlie's going to be struggling with one thing on the island, and maybe because of his experience, like it's going to be fine because he knows what to do now, or the opposite, but the flashback is going to be like him facing that experience while in his addiction, and it's going to suck. It's going to absolutely suck. It's not going to turn out the way he needs it to, like any of that. So
I also think it's very fascinating because religion and faith plays a big part in recovery.
Yeah,
that's one of the most important steps about the recovery process. Letting go and understanding that there is a force bigger than you. It's kind of like just trusting in that. And it's kind of up to you to kind of figure out what that is, what you believe in. And in fact, that's why a lot of people end up dropping out of like rehab programs and recovery programs, because they don't want to, or they just can't get behind that, that concept, So if you are having trouble going through recovery, there are plenty of places that do, I don't think it's called agnostic, but there's like there's like non-denominational kind of recovery programs, and like ones that kind of focus less on the religious side of it. You just got to ask around, ask for help. If we've learned anything from Kate, it's that you need to ask for help.
Let's not put it all on Kate. There's a lot of people in the show that could have just asked for help,
That's true.
But yeah.
Dude, I gotta say, this season's nuts. We're getting, like, these past couple episodes, we're getting on some topical topics here.
Yeah.
We've talked about racism. We've talked about representation. Now we're talking about addiction and recovery, and wow.
It's crazy. I also think that, to your point that like you wish you had seen more from Charlie, like in his like struggling or like coping, in a way. This isn't his episode.
That's true.
So it's like there is only so much that we can do. And again, like to say that like my problems don't stem from Dominic Monaghan at all. I think he's doing a fantastic job. It is just like a frustration I have with how he's being written, how Charlie's being written.
Because when I said like I wanted to see more of his struggle, I don't mean in this episode. I mean like before in the season. Because my major problem is like, why is he doing this? I don't understand. I feel like they could have dropped hints and more seeds throughout the first 9 episodes. So when this episode does happen, then it's like, okay, interesting. And then at some point when he gets an episode this season with flashbacks, that'll be intriguing to see how that plays out. And yeah, I love Dominic Monaghan. I'm going to make a plug for his podcast, The Friendship Onion, with him and fellow Hobbit Billy Boyd. Sam, we're not sponsored by this podcast at all, but I love it.
We're not sponsored by anything.
We're not sponsored by anything. But if Friendship Onion wants to give us a shout out, we'll take it. I do dishes at night, and then right afterwards, I sit down to play some Call of Duty, kind of relax, just shooting people in a virtual world. Nothing wrong about that, right? And to kind of calm down, because let's be honest, you're just looking at a screen of like guns and bullets and stuff and people cussing. So I usually just mute everyone and I'll play like a podcast or something. So once a week, Tuesdays, I'll play The Friendship Onion. It's awesome. I haven't caught up yet, but the podcast is mostly about Lord of the Rings, but it's a lot of it is just their friendship, their careers, family life, and a lot of like the behind the scenes stuff they don't talk about, in the movies, because it's all relationships. Like, what were they doing on their downtime? How are they hanging out? How did they get to? Music was a big bonding thing for that whole cast. So every episode they talk about music, and I'm finding some really cool, interesting groups because of their podcast. So I recommend it.
All right, you heard it here first, folks.
And so if they want to sponsor us in any way, because I'm sure they got more money than us, the advertisement ends now. Okay, so I got plans for later in this episode. So I kind of want to just get through this as much as we can, because we pretty much talked about Echo's story, and a lot that happened. Oh, as far as everything they found and dealt with on this island, I think the big one, there was a big moment in this episode, which kind of stopped the presses, and it was like even in the news, because this was the first time in Lost history where we got to see the freaking monster. And so did Mr. Echo. That was crazy because like we had seen glimpses of it here and there, but yeah, what it turns out is it's a giant freaking smoke monster. That was wild, man.
So it's crazy because it's not just the thing where it's like, and I feel like they would do this in any other show. I'm kind of looking at you, Stranger Things, where like they take so long to reveal like what the Demogorgon looks like. And then it's never really like fully, like the camera's never really fully on it for long enough for us to be like, oh, what is that? It's like, especially in those early episodes, it feels like it's always chopping. It's always chopping away because we don't want to reveal it.
Yeah.
So when we went like all season one without seeing the monster. We kind of got a glimpse at it in the season finale.
Because that's the big one, right? The Demogorgon is the big one.
Oh yeah. Oh well, now I'm talking about Lost, but
okay,
yeah.
All right.
But yeah. So in Lost, we didn't get to see it most of the first season. We kind of caught a glimpse of it at the end of the first season. But it was so fast. You're like, wait, what? What was that? And all that. And now we full on got solid like 30-40 seconds of this giant smoke thing just there. It comes like first, like there's two big explosions, dirt flies everywhere, and then the smoke thing like charges at Mr. Echo, and then it comes to a complete stop just like a foot away from his face. And we get the moment where the camera is like turning and it goes through the smoke and then comes around the other side. And in that, you could, mistake it for a roar, but it's mechanical. It's not
mechanical, right? Yeah.
It's not a roar. It's it's like a whirring of machines and parts just constantly like grinding against each other.
Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, you could also you would be okay if you said that there was lightning inside of that monster.
Yeah.
There's not lightning inside of that monster. there's images in that monster.
Yeah.
It's projecting something.
Mm-hmm.
And now I don't know if it's just projecting random things or if it's reading the person that it's looking at.
Well, I mean, it's kind of a little behind the scenes, a little meta, but I could tell you like what we saw in that smoke right now.
Do I want to know?
Yeah, I mean, it's not really any spoilers, but it's kind of like the tattooed shark.
Mm-hmm.
Like once this episode aired, like there were screen captures of this all over the internet. But essentially, yeah, like all those images, they were people, and they were all people in Echo's flashbacks.
Okay.
So cool. What that means?
That's what I thought.
What that means, I don't know. Because like I'm pretty sure like you see the brother in there at one point. Because like the thing is, it's so fast, like you only see it if you like pause it. But yeah, like so those images, they were all people from the flashbacks, his flashback. So
okay. Now
that doesn't answer your question though. Was it just random or is it reading him?
Exactly.
That I don't know.
Exactly. I have no idea. And then it just fully just like goes away.
Yeah. And he doesn't even really talk about it with Charlie. They just give each other this look and we're like, oh God.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah. It's crazy, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
For us, this is one of the greatest moments of our lives. But for the survivors of Oceanic Flight 815, it was Tuesday.
All right, moving on.
Is that what breaks you?
I love that line. Okay, so other things that are going on the island. I guess the only really,
I mean, there's two small moments that I want to talk about, which is actually there's three small moments
because I do want to talk about the ending. I thought this episode had a beautiful ending.
Mm-hmm.
But we could say that for the ending.
All right. First off, we didn't talk about my boy Hugo last episode, where he had the line of the episode where he walks up to Jack as Jack's chopping wood, and he's like, "So, Rose's husband turned out to be white. Didn't see that coming." I was like, that's exactly what I thought too. I was like, "Oh, that's Bernard! Holy shit!" Yeah. So that's an addendum from last week. Shout out to my boy Hugo for that. But this week, Hurley also gets like a cool, like a nice moment, because one of the only times we see Sawyer and Kate this episode is they're on the beach and Kate's giving Sawyer a haircut, and he's being full like grumpy. Like I imagine like him as like Wolverine when he's like first like starting to like become attached to everybody. He has that sort of grumpiness, and Kate says something to the fact of like, I don't understand why you're still like, why you're still acting like this. Like everybody on the island loves you. Like they're happy to see you. And he's like, yeah, sure. And who do we see? We see Hurley walking up, close to them. He's like, hey, Sawyer. Yeah. Glad you're okay, man. And then he just walks off. I'm like, yes, dude.
Yeah.
The comedic timing, the unintentional comedic timing of Hurley is fantastic.
Yeah. Oh man.
Oh, I love him so much.
Protect him at all costs.
Protect him. I will fully take a bullet for Hugo Reyes. Okay. Man. I love that man.
So what I do want to talk about is Michael.
Yes.
He's still chatting with Walt, I guess, on the computer.
Quote unquote, question mark.
But he's asking questions. He's looking around the hatch, and he gets Locke to teach him how to fire the rifle.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a pretty good shot. Pretty good shot.
Not gonna lie.
Mm-hmm. So man, it was just it was so awkward because like he's chatting on the computer, and Jack walks in. It's kind of like when like a parent walks in on you, like watching porn or something. You're like, "Hey, what you doing? Nothing." Mm-hmm. Okay.
Like, are you here by yourself? Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. And then Jack just pulls up a chair
He
and I'm
sits
like,
right next to him.
damn it, Jack. Now is not the time. It's fully not the time. Yeah. Okay, so this poses another question, and maybe this is me just reading into things. The film said not to use the computer for anything else other than the key sequence. Michael is using it to chat with this supposed Walt. But when Jack gets up and he goes and he just like, I don't think he thinks Michael's being sneaky. He just like goes to like get into a different position and like pats him on the shoulder, like, are you sure you're okay? You know, just to check up on him. He gets a full bird's eye view of the computer screen, and there's nothing there.
Yeah.
So two things ran across my mind. One, there's like a time limit for if you don't enter any like keystrokes within a certain set amount of time, the screen just goes blank, and you know, like your message like disappears, whatever. Or, and this is the one I'm leaning more into because it's lost, Michael's the only one who can see it.
That's interesting. I think he would have said something though, because Jack straight up like looked over his shoulder at the screen. You know, Michael would be like, "Oh, I don't know what happened." You know what I mean? Like he just didn't address it. So
yeah,
but I mean, at the same time, like no one has been able to use the computer for anything other than the numbers. And even in this episode, Michael was trying to, but nothing was happening. Like he's had to wait for someone to start it on the other end.
Exactly. I think that's the thing too. Like, I think that computer can't do anything else unless it's kind of, you know, it's just like a program. It's like you can't do something unless you have permission to do something to do that thing, you know. So it's like that computer is probably locked, and there's another computer potentially on the island that is allowing access through this, you know, like AOL chat. So yeah, but you know, my thing was, look, we thought Kate was crazy for seeing a horse. Jack was seeing his dead dad. Saeed seeing Walt. Shannon and Saeed are seeing Walt in the freaking jungle. Like, I don't think it'd be outside the realm of possibility if Michael's the only one who could see this chat going on.
Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah. So
is that your prediction?
Yeah, that's one of them. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's just do predictions first. What else? What do you think is going to happen?
Okay, so Michael's the only one who can see the chat. My big one is that the island is moving. And it's either like it's moving like slowly or it's teleporting.
So why do you say that? Oh, is it because of the plane?
Well, one, because of the plane. Yeah. Two, because I still also am saying that the island is the living mutant Krakoa. You know, so there's also that. But yeah, it just feels odd to me. And I mean, this is Lost. So like there's nothing to say that like this island is going to act normally. Yeah. You know, especially with all the crazy stuff that's already going on it. Like it may have fully just started out as a normal island, and with everything that Dharma has been doing, everything that it's been exposed to, whatever incident happened, that just fully gives me the impression that this island doesn't have to behave normally. It doesn't have to bend to the laws of, you know, physics and, you know, nature and whatever. So yeah. Okay. So I feel like it's gonna move. Or it's moving and it is gonna move. And then I guess that's it.
Okay. So last thing I want to talk about was the ending, because was it As They Were Praying? Where you get like the montage at the end?
Yeah.
Okay, so as Echo and Charlie are praying, you get the little montage. You get to see Jack once again walks in on Sawyer and Kate having a little flirty time. And you see Jin introduce his son to Ana Lucia, and they cleaned the fish for her. Nice little gesture. That was the only time she was in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
And she was barely in the last episode as well. And then you get to see like Libby. He meets Hurley. She meets Hurley, and they're building their tent and stuff. So it was just like this nice little moments to end it, and I thought it was very happy ending. I guess. I guess the reason they did that too was because the actual ending was where we see Charlie hiding his stash. So it's kind of like a flip. Because you do kind of want to believe that Charlie changed through this experience. Like, oh, yeah, maybe it isn't too bad or whatever. But then, no, we see him hiding the Virgin Mary statue with the rest of his stash.
Yeah.
It's like, crap.
Yeah.
Okay, so MVPs this week.
Okay. Adewale, Akinoye, Ajbaje. I'm still gonna butcher that, but
the first episode I said it. I just cut it so it sounds like I say it as one.
Yeah.
Adewale,
okay.
Akinoye, Abache.
Yeah. So MVPs, obviously, Adewale, Akinoye, Ajbaje.
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah, I think this is a solo one, man.
Yeah.
Last time we had 3. I think this time I'm just gonna give it to him.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, like, and that's kind of part of the course when we do have like a character centric, episode that kind of hasn't happened. Like, like obviously we've made, amendments and stuff and been like, oh, well, actually, like we're gonna give it to this character because whatever. But yeah, like this is his episode and fully just blows it out of the water. He's giving a fantastic performance, and
he's like stealing the season, man. Like
I know,
like we're spending so much time with him this season. It's good. It's great. I love it. I love this character.
And I'm gonna be a little meta, and I'm gonna be a little spoilerish here for those of you who are listening. If you don't want to listen to the spoiler, cut ahead like
a couple minutes. We're talking about spoilers?
Well, I'm just because here's the thing. I know because I remember.
So this is a spoiler warning. Come back. I'm just gonna say come back in what do you want? 30 seconds?
Well, I don't know, because it depends how long we go into this. Like, but I don't know. Just do like a minute. Just do like a full minute skip.
All right.
Here's the thing.
60 seconds.
I remember this dude isn't gonna be in Lost all 6 seasons. I know that because I still remember the marketing. I still remember catching some episodes. I still remember some stuff. I'm fully thinking that something is going to happen to him, if not by the end of this season, in season 3, because I don't remember ever seeing him again in any of the season 4 material and then on. So, and you know what? That makes me pissed. That pisses me off because, like, I will trade Jack. I will trade Jack for Mr. Echo. Okay. I don't need another sad sob story about, oh, Jack like is doing this thing. You can't say no. You can't help but fix people, Jack. That's your problem. I don't want to hear any more about Jack's daddy issues. Trade all that for Mr. Echo. Okay. That's my thing. That's my spiel.
Spoilers over. Okay.
Spoilers over.
Whew, man. I gotta beat the sweat off my forehead after that one.
I got heated. I just worked 7.5 hours. I got no filter. To hell with it, All
right, let's keep going. Do you got a die on you at D20?
Ah, dang it. No.
All right. I'll roll it then. because this is an episode about brothers. That's a natural 20. I thought we would do some brotherly bonding.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to ask a question. Would you like to answer it first, or should I answer? Because ideally we would be asking each other questions, but it's just me because I have the questions right here.
Well, if you're asking me the question, I think I have to answer it first. And then
okay,
you can
first,
give your answer.
Sam.
Yeah.
Do you consider yourself successful?
Oh, jeez. What are you, a job application?
This is a question that is supposed to we're supposed to bond over.
Okay. Short answer, yes.
Oh.
Long answer is it's still yes, but it's just that my definition of success has changed. And I think it's also the fact that, like, look, I got a new job and it's a great job. And, you know, I'm fully ready to like keep moving up, like if it's within that field or whatever, like still like the thing is I got a new job and it's great. And I feel better about myself, you know. I'm moving out of my apartment situation and I'm going to be moving in like fully just my wife and I in an apartment by ourselves and our cats. And that's great. That's fantastic. I got a new car like a couple of months ago and I needed one, but I just didn't know how that was going to work out. And it worked out. It worked out that we were able to get, and we got a nice car. You know, it's a fully nice car. I still get to do this podcast with you, you know, like on or off a little bit, but like I still get to do this podcast with you very regularly. And yeah, I'm slowly working on, you know, like getting back into reading more for myself and then doing more writing that I want to do. I'm getting back to doing the things that because of outside forces, because of, you know, a pandemic or because of an accident or just because of depression, like I'm getting back to doing the things that I love to do and things are very much looking up. So I consider that successful. So yeah.
That is the correct answer.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Oh, okay. So
what was that?
All right. So next question. This is you're asking me this one.
Okay.
Matt, what's one healthy thing you do to manage stress and one unhealthy thing?
Am I now answering as you? Well, Sam,
no. Well, Sam, that's a good question. One healthy thing you do to manage stress. Man, I don't know. I mean,
you shut yourself off? Do you isolate yourself from people?
I just cut myself off from the world. Yeah.
Do you send
I guess
one word
like,
text messages that read
I guess
very
we all
badly?
have like our little rituals and stuff. Like, I don't know. Like I said, like I usually, you know, like at night, wash dishes and I'll play some Call of Duty for a little bit. Just because like that calms me down. You know, Call of Duty is like I could turn my brain off for that. You know what I mean? I'm not playing Tetris or something where I actually need to like problem solve. It's just like kind of like a brain numbing thing where I can just kind of relax, chill out. And honestly, like I said, the podcast, I'll listen to a podcast, so I get to focus on that instead. Lately I've been trying to watch a Star Trek episode before bed, so that, you know, that calms me down, kind of gets me ready. I don't know. Yes. Stress is one. Like, here's the thing, like manage stress. I think it's something that I picked up in college where it's like,
you've never been stressed before college.
Never. Trust me, Sam. I picked up
18 years
a
of
lot
life.
of things in college, and stress was one of them. So no, but like it's one of those, because it wasn't just college, it was freaking theater school, on top of having a job. So like a short day for me would be 12 hours. But most of them were closer to like 16, you barely had time to eat, sleep, and then you had to be back at school in the morning. And I remember, because I was like 23 when I actually went to theater school. Is that right? Yeah, something like that. 23, 24. So I already had college experience, but this is the one where I realized, I started actually seeing my capabilities, what my limits were. And I realized that's when I kind of realized, yeah, I could accomplish so much more than I ever gave myself credit for. So yeah, I don't know. It's so managing stress to me is kind of just like, you could go like the relaxing route, like I do, before bed, or also like, okay, well, I got a Dungeons and Dragons campaign to prep, let's draw some maps, let's make some characters. To me, that stuff's fun. It's still a lot of stuff. It's a lot of complicated mechanics and things, but it calms me down. One unhealthy thing, I stay up way too late. That's probably the big one, especially with work schedules changing and stuff. I could stay up longer now because I go in later, which I'm not a big fan of, though.
It's dangerous, yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty much, I could go to bed earlier, but I don't know. FOMO, man. Like, I don't want to, I feel like I could be doing something, I haven't put the proper amount of importance on sleep and rest. So that's what I need to do. All right.
Need your sleep.
Yeah. All right. So what? We got time for one more?
Sure.
These are like kind of just like generic ones. It's not what I was looking for.
Okay.
Oh, here we go. This is what I'm talking about.
Uh-oh.
Sam. What's something you wish you could have told me when we were kids? Why didn't you tell me then?
Oh, geez. Something I wish I could have told you when we were kids? I don't know. I don't like it when you do shit without me.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, which is weird because, like, one, there's the age difference between you and me. So, that means like we like different schools, like at different points, in schools at different points in our lives. Yeah. And, just the fact that like you and I, we spent pretty much all of our time together, when we weren't like at school, there was really hardly any times when that I can remember, at least, that we were that we were like separated by like our friends. That didn't happen until later, at least from what I can remember, and then of course, obviously, like once I was in middle school, you were in high school, like, there was already that big gap going on where it's like, okay, like you're off doing your own thing. You're going out on Friday nights, to First Friday, and all that stuff, and you're doing all the stuff with your friends, and I'm like, well, I want to go with Matt. And Mom and Dad are like, no, you can't go with your brother, and I'm like, but that's not fair, all that stuff. And yeah, I don't know, and I guess it's kind of selfish, but like, yeah, I like you when you do shit without me. You went to New York. You lived in New York for a year, and I wasn't invited. What kind of crap is that?
I think it's interesting too, because I think we're very lucky, because when you look back on both of our lives, if you look at our biggest fuck ups, they were always when you and I were furthest apart.
Yep.
And you know what? I need to make a dedication here. I need to dedicate and thank our brotherhood to Jensen Ackles and Jared Padalecki.
Oh my god!
Because yeah, dude, like I think a lot of things started changing when I moved to New York, because that was when we were like split, we were separated, you know. But and like I feel like things were never the same after that. You know, I moved away to college, and we both started getting our own experiences, for better or worse. And yeah, we were just like different people, and all we would talk all the time, you know, on the phone and whatever. But we became different people. But then coming back, I went through just crazy. I didn't know what I wanted to do. You know, I moved back home from this really cool experience in New York, and I was like, I don't know what I want to do. So I'm just going to community college. And I kind of got the idea one day. I was like, you know what? I kind of want to check out that show Supernatural. Yeah. It was already like on season 2 or something. I was like, I can go to Best Buy and go buy the first season. So I did, and I fell in love with it. But I fell in love with the brothers, and even though they were hard, and this was like when Supernatural was good. This is like those first years, man. Like, even though they were like, they could be dumbasses, they always had each other's back, and it was like a cool, strong relationship. And the way I saw Dean and how he was being an older brother, I was like, oh shit, is that what I'm supposed to be doing? I also, for the record, I want, for everyone listening, it's kind of, I'm the kind of guy who, like, I keep my privacy private. I don't really share a lot. So because of this, Sam was the first one to bring a girl home. He was the first one to introduce his girlfriend to the parents. Like, what? That's how this our brotherhood relationship is. That's usually what like the older brother should be doing. You know, making the mistakes first. And I did.
Yeah.
Nobody found out about it though, because I did it on my own time. So Sam had to do that on his own.
Yeah, and here's the thing: like, you made your fair share of mistakes, and so did I. We just made different mistakes.
Yeah,
you know, like because I could see all the stuff that you would do, and I was like, oh, I'm not going to do that. I'm definitely not going to do that.
Write that one down.
I'm going to write that one down and never do that. And then what happens? Yeah, like 3-4 years later, like I'm doing completely different shit. That's like, whoa, you brought your girlfriend home. Like, one, it's not even like the girl like you're interested in. It's like fully you guys are boyfriend and girlfriend. Like that's wild. Okay.
Yeah. And I was just the mindset, like, you don't do that. We have a very big family, very loving family, a lot of women in our family. I just didn't want that pressure. I didn't want that pressure for me or for whatever poor girl I was with. I'm like, no, I'm not going to take you to introduce you to my family.
Hindsight also, being what it is. Yeah, that was
also, I was never with anyone long enough and got serious enough where I'm like, hey, I want you to meet my family. So, yeah.
I mean, dude, I fall hard.
I think, yeah. You fall hard. I burn out fast. I'm like a meteor. You know?
Together we make a pretty competent moon, I guess.
Yeah. So yeah. I think our brotherhood really hit its stride, like in our 20s.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it was always good, but then like, I don't know. It's
like it's the grown-up version of what we had when we were kids.
It's like we became adults.
We became adults and we were able to like share our feelings, share our lives with each other in a way that that's healthy. And, you know, we have a good relationship. And I'm very thankful for the fact that you and I have as good a relationship as we do. Cause, you know, we know siblings that don't have the same connection. And, you know, so I'm very grateful, you know, for you and for just the relationship that you and I have.
Yeah, man. Same here. I take a bullet for you, dude. But, well, no, I probably would do this too. I would definitely smuggle drugs out of Nigeria for you.
I would hesitate with the bullet one because, you know, I don't like being in pain. And getting the drugs out of Nigeria also causes stress and like
very stressful.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. I would endure massive amounts of stress that equate to smuggling drugs out of Nigeria and taking a bullet for you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that works. So in honor of the brotherly themes of this episode, I feel like we've grown a little bit closer.
I think so.
And back just to finish off with the whole not doing anything apart kind of thing. Now, like we're essentially, I don't know what to call it, like co-artists, we're co-workers, we're co-business owners. We've had our own little businesses here and there. We work together on everything. Most stuff that like we're working on as far as writing or whatever we're creating, we're doing it together. And if we are doing it separate, there's still all that back and forth. Like, hey, dude, I want you to check this out.
Yeah, exactly.
I definitely use you as my like test. Like I could care less what the world thought. Like, if Sam thinks this is cool, this is cool. This is what I'm writing for me. I'm writing for my brother. It's that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I think so. That's great. Just as both of us being creatives, that's a great partner to have, because you keep me on my toes, but you're also supportive. And in a lot of ways, dude, you're kind of my guiding light. I mean, the world is going like crazy, but there's a lot of good stuff going on. And I definitely see you and use you as a like the test, or you're my lighthouse, Sam. I'm like, what does Sam care about? What does Sam care about? Who should I care about? Like, I'm not really so hot on the news. I'm always trying to learn and stay up to date, but I don't know. I kind of got problems empathizing, I guess. I do. Okay. I think I do have empathy, but I have trouble empathizing with people I don't know. So I read about all these struggles, and like, I kind of look to Sam to like, okay, this is important to someone. This is important to Sam, and this is important to someone else. I need to make it important to me. So that's what I kind of use you for. And I know we laugh, we goof around this podcast a lot and all that stuff. But I just want to kind of end it with that, saying, my life is richer for having known you, little bro. And you know what, dude? I'm going to end this episode by saying this. I want you to not get lost.